Hi everyone, it's Dan at Campus Election Engagement Project. This semester, we want to help you set yourselves up for success. In this training, we'll tackle managing stress through strategic planning, strong team building, and taking care of yourself. So let's get to it. Here are some of the takeaways for this training. Students will be able to create a SMART goal. Students will understand how to practice self-care. Students will understand the importance of planning and reaching out to campus stakeholders early in the semester, and will be able to create and execute an internal communication plan. The work of voter engagement can be really discouraging sometimes. Maybe your administration is fighting you every step of the way while planning the big voter engagement event on campus, or maybe too many people just walked right by you or didn't have any interest in getting registered to vote at your table. We face a lot of setbacks in this field. If you don't take care of yourself first, you will not be nearly as focused or attentive for the other things you do in your life. Practicing healthy methods of self-care is an important part of college life, especially for students like you who are participating in extra opportunities. In this presentation, we will outline 4 main ways to practice self-care and set yourself up for success this semester. First is creating attainable goals. We want you to think big and be creative, but we also want you to plan out those big ideas in a timeline so that they can realistically be accomplished. Second, we want you to build a reliable team of volunteers and partners who also share your mission of increasing student voter turnout. Having a team to rely on will be extremely helpful when your classes start to pick up. Third, try fun new things regularly. If everything you do on campus is related to volunteering or politics, it can be a little exhausting. Find a few non-political things to do to give yourself a break. And last but not least, make a plan to build self-care into your daily life. One great way to manage stress during your fellowship is to make big, but attainable, goals. The best way to do this is not necessarily to make your goals smaller, but to start planning them early and to reach out to your partners early. If you have big plans for your campus, make it happen. Create a timeline at the beginning of the semester and stick to it. That's how big ideas happen. Your campus advisor or your state director will give you an action plan to fill out with all your ideas on campus. Complete it early and start taking first steps on your ideas right away. Talk to your campus advisor or your state director about who you will be working with on your campus and connect with them as early in the semester as possible. Chances are they are doing the same kind of work that you're doing. Perhaps you can combine some smaller individual events into larger events that you plan together. Make sure your goals include a way to measure your success as a fellow, whether it's how many people you register, how many people you talk to, or the number of events you have. And when one of your goals is completed, celebrate. This is a marathon, not a sprint, so remember to celebrate every victory you and your team have, no matter how small it may seem. For this training, we have combined SEEP's 7 key ways to engage your college campus with the idea of SMART goals that you might be familiar with to create smarter goals. We hope that you will take our smarter goals into consideration as you are creating your engagement plan. Creating goals that follow these guidelines will help you stay creative and make big goals while also ensuring their success. A goal is not truly a goal if you aren't able to break it down like we have in our example today. It's just an idea. Methods such as SMART goal making ensure that your big idea becomes a measurable and attainable reality. As a reminder, our smarter goals include: be specific and define your activities and goals. Know your limitations and identify key stakeholders who are vital to building a team or putting your institutional project in action. Create a project where you can measure success. When determining your objectives, consider who your target audience is and the metrics you hope to achieve. Your project should include registering students to vote and educating them on the registration requirements, candidates, issues, and the voting process. Make your project attainable. Know your campus and create activities that appeal to its students. Plan activities around traditions on your campus or work with established organizations on your campus to get students to volunteer. Be realistic with your project goals and timeline. Build election excitement and visibility to increase awareness in your virtual community. Project promotion and strategy are key to staying on time. Getting out the vote has a deadline, Election Day, and your project should help make voters feel prepared to make informed decisions. Evaluate your plan often. Measuring your impact will help your project live well beyond your fellowship and hopefully continue to educate and inform your online community. Reward yourself and your team for all the hard work you've done. Voter engagement is a marathon, not a sprint, so you must celebrate the small successes throughout the semester. Let's say it again. Always remember to celebrate your victories. If you register 5 people to vote, celebrate. If you hand out 200 cookies during a voter education event, celebrate. If you lead a march to the polls of 50 people, celebrate. You are each one piece in this giant puzzle of voter engagement, and every person you reach helps us reach the goal of getting young people involved in the political process. So celebrate. Maintaining a positive attitude is one of the most important practices in this field. It will help you focus on the small victories instead of maybe some things that didn't work out the way you wanted them to. Next, build your team and work with them. Figure out who you can work with early on and reach out to them. Start by talking to your campus advisor and your state director to see what connections SEEP already has on your campus. You can also reach out to campus organizations with a similar goal, or university departments that you think might support you. Having some university support makes a big difference as you begin to plan events or implement institutional changes. Create a team of friends and volunteers that you can call on for registration and voter education events. Create a form of communication that works just for your group and use it regularly. Whether it's Slack, Facebook, or GroupMe, find one that works with your team and use it often. Rely on this team you've created, delegate tasks, support other organizations in their events, and they will support you in yours. Working together to create large events may be easier and less stress on you than each of you trying to create your own small events. With lots of hands on deck, there will be more opportunity to delegate tasks, so all of the responsibility doesn't fall on you, leading to much more fun and effective events. Your team is made up of people you can rely on. They're the people who show up to work the events you've planned, the people who show up to important meetings with department heads and faculty, and they're the people who show up to help you delegate your tasks throughout the semester. They're the people who show up. Your team will amplify your effect on campus at every event, but they're also going to make planning and orchestrating these events much easier. However, you have to be sure to delegate efficiently. Here we have some characteristics of efficient delegating. Prioritize your tasks and distribute them accordingly. When you're distributing the tasks, keep in mind the strengths of each team member. If you have a team member who is well connected on student government, for example, give them the task of reaching out to the Senate Committee on Civic Engagement. If you have a team member who has excellent social media game, let them run your Instagram page. People are more likely to be good at the things they enjoy than the things they are just assigned to do without any input. Be willing to let go of some responsibilities as well. You have a good team you can trust, so trust them to do the things they volunteered to do or the things you've assigned to them. It's going to be a big load off your shoulders. Just like celebrating your victories, be sure to include lots of positive things in your meeting. It's always a great idea to start a meeting by going around and saying one good thing about your week, the work you're doing, or something you're looking forward to. This boosts morale and creates a positive environment for the meeting. You've probably heard before that a positive attitude goes a long way. This is even more true in voter engagement. Our work is such that lots of small differences add together to make a big difference. It's so important to keep morale up when working towards these big goals, because your impact is just one piece to a giant puzzle of voter engagement. One of the most important personal care things you can do this semester is diversify your interests. If most of the things you do from day to day revolve around advocacy, school, and politics, it might get repetitive and exhausting. That's especially true with this current political climate and the size of the voter engagement cause. Switch things up with a fun activity to meet different kinds of people and do something lighter. It's a great way to remember the great things about the world and avoid burnout. Plus, you get to meet all different kinds of people through all different kinds of activity, which keeps an open mind open and a curious learner curious and learning. What are some things you do in your free time? When you work in politics 8 hours a day, it's important to explore other hobbies and interests. I am in fact old and boring, but the Assistant Fellowship Director, Jessica Holtkamp, enjoys swing dancing, going to farmers markets, cooking, gardening, and trying new restaurants. She lives in a very snowy climate, so she's also trying snowboarding, skiing, and even ice fishing. This makes her more well-rounded than me, and a good role model for you. Self-care is the practice of taking an active role in protecting one's own well-being and happiness, in particular during periods of stress. Self-care fundamentals include eating a well-rounded diet, exercising, maintaining a sleep schedule, spending time outside, and connecting with loved ones. We know this semester you will have a lot going on. Please, take time for yourself. Create technology-free meal times. Set a bedtime. Go for a daily walk. We're here for you and want to help you take care of yourselves if we can. Self-care is not just about bubble baths and trips to the movies. It's all about thoughtfully creating balance in your life. This includes looking after your mind, body, spirit, relationships, and emotional well-being throughout the difficult parts of your life, in school, at home, at work, and in your fellowship. This can be hard work and is not always fun, but it pays off. Self-care is very personal. What you choose to do for self-care is up to you. Here are some recommended self-care practices that will help you limit stress and find balance. Eat a healthy, balanced diet, stay active, get enough sleep, spend time with friends or loved ones, practice relaxation or meditation. This list is just the beginning. We'll provide you with links to resources to think about how you engage in self-care. On the next two slides, we'll go over a couple of common techniques that you can use when you are feeling stressed. Here's a few more self-care tips. As I said earlier, self-care looks different to each person, so it's important that you find a combination of these items, or your own items, that work well for you. If you are feeling stressed or anxious, mindfulness practices such as the Name 5 or 5-4-3-2-1 technique might help you return to the present. To do it, Name 5 things you see. Name 4 things you can touch. Name 3 things you can hear. Name 2 things you can smell. Name 1 thing you can taste. This is an excellent way to center yourself when you may be feeling anxious or panicked. It brings you back to what is happening in the present right in front of you, rather than things you may be thinking about in the future or the past. Now, let's take a moment to practice a self-care technique together. This is called square breathing. It helps reset your mind and body. I will tell you the steps and then we can practice it together. Step 1. Inhale for 4 seconds. Step 2. Hold your breath for 4 seconds. Step 3. Exhale for 4 seconds. Step 4. Hold for 4 seconds. And step 5. Repeat as needed. Ready? Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Repeat. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is an excellent way to calm yourself or to clear your mind. I often use it when I'm having trouble getting to sleep at night. Self-care is a practice. It works best when you build it into your life and do it regularly, even when you're not feeling stressed. It is helpful to create a plan. The Self-Care Starter Kit from the University of Buffalo will help you think about what types of self-care you already do and what practices make sense to add to your life. In the Self-Care Starter Kit, there are 7 steps to creating your self-care plan. Let's go over them. How do you cope now? Identify what you do now to manage the stress in your life. The Lifestyle Behaviors Assessment found on the website can help you to identify the coping strategies you currently use and whether they are likely to be good or not so good for your well-being. Decreasing or eliminating at least one negative coping strategy can be one of the goals of your maintenance self-care. Employing more positive strategies can be another. What do you do for self-care now? The self-care assessment will help you highlight the good things you are already doing for yourself and whether there is an imbalance in the areas in which you practice self-care. The items in this assessment can also give you some ideas for additional things you may want to do in the future to help prevent stress and burnout and to maintain and enhance your well-being. Make a note of the items that you would like to add, or add more of, to your self-care practice. In considering this, try to be sure that each domain of self-care is well represented. If you think of things that are not included in this list, just add them at the end. Maintenance self-care. Adding self-care practices and eliminating obstacles. Maintenance self-care refers to the activities that you have identified as important to your well-being and that you have committed to engage in on a regular basis to take care of yourself. The My Maintenance Self-Care worksheet provides an opportunity for you to identify the activities you would like to add to your self-care practice and each self-care domain or new practice. It is also useful to identify possible barriers or obstacles that could get in the way of implementing and/or maintaining these new activities. Think about what you anticipate these barriers or obstacles to be, and try to list at least 3 or 4 in the spaces provided, how you can address them, and how you can remind yourself to follow your plan. Write these solutions on the last page of the My Maintenance Self-Care worksheet. If you have chosen to limit or eliminate a negative coping strategy that you currently use, note this as well. You can revisit this topic and revise your list as the demands of your personal and professional life change. Emergency self-care. Be prepared. So far, we have focused on maintenance self-care, the kind of thing one does regularly to reduce stress and maintain and enhance well-being. But planning out what you would do under extremely trying circumstances, even though they are rare, is also important. To do this, develop a framework using your emergency self-care worksheet before you are faced with a crisis or feel overwhelmed. This is not to suggest that you will invariably face such a situation. The idea is to be prepared just in case. Make a commitment to yourself. Remember, just like the flight attendant says, you need to put on your own oxygen mask first before you can be of help to others. So take a moment, think it over, and then make your personal commitment to your own self-care. You deserve it. If you find making a commitment to be a challenge, take some time to explore your reservations. Do you have a tendency to put the needs of others first? The truth is that your self-care is not only essential to your well-being, but it is also a necessary element for you to be effective and successful in honoring your professional and personal commitments. Share your plan. Once you have developed your plan and made your commitment, remember that friends, family, peers, and/or colleagues may be good additional resources for exchanging new self-care ideas or strategies, and to provide support and encouragement. Consider taking your commitment a step further by joining or starting a support or discussion group. Last, follow your plan. After you have completed the assessments and worksheets, you have identified the core elements of your personal self-care plan. The final step is to implement your plan and keep track of how you're doing. Keeping track of your progress will help you recognize your successes and identify and address any difficulties you may not have anticipated. Don't forget that you can revise your plan as needed. Remember also to employ your emergency plan should emotionally difficult circumstances arise. We highly encourage you to use the resources in the Self-Care Starter Kit and create a plan. The link is on this slide and will be included in your Self-Care Resources document. Self-care is an important tool, but we recognize that sometimes it is not enough. Self-care cannot solve systemic injustices and inequalities, and self-care is only one part of addressing mental health. Mental health issues like anxiety and depression can affect anyone, and we don't have to go through it alone. We encourage you to seek professional guidance and support. Know where you can go for help on campus and in your community. We will also share a list of national resources. We care about you. Please reach out to your state director or national fellowship director if you need help. Remember, as always, this is a marathon, not a sprint. Taking care of yourself throughout the semester and your college career will give you better results than sprinting through 1 week or 1 month and crashing the next. You'll also enjoy it much more. That's all for now. Take a stretch break and a few moments to reflect on the core lessons in this training. And as always, take care of yourself.